years. But Emily is a mother in Linden Hills and a longtime friend to our community, and offering music over the years and helping with various Sabbath celebrations. She's a professional singer who serves as the vocal music director at Heartbeat Performing Arts in Apple Valley, where she conducts 4 choirs and offers private vocal training. She's a medicine song carrier, songwriter, vocal composer for local performance art company Vox Medusa, and also serves as the creative director for her professional women's quartet. Additionally, Emily has been part of the moon dance tradition and indigenous Mexica ceremony for women of all races and nations since 2012. She's a pipe and staff carrier, has been a member of the Consejo Sacred Council since 2013, serves as a chief drummer from 2016 to 2021. Wow. And currently serves on the grandmother drum at Danza ceremony in Mount Shasta. It was in her first moon dance ceremony where Emily received the vision for a spiritual program, now known as 13 Moon Circles. Since 2018, Emily has led over 350 circles for women and girls in our community and beyond, where she shares traditional teachings in ritual settings, holding a safe container for others to share their medicine and wisdom with one another. She has created 3-year-long cycle programs and 4 seasonal intensives, and the vision only continues to expand and unfold. Lake Harriet Spiritual Community, please help me welcome Emily Colay.
Thanks, Neil. Hi, everyone. Greetings. Happy Sunday. It's so lovely to be here. I'm going to take off my shoes because that's how I do, so I hope nobody's offended by that. I'm really thrilled to be back here at Lake Harriet Spiritual Community because, as Neil mentioned, I have a long relationship with this place and with this space in particular. I used to offer music for different events and helped coordinate some of those Sabbath celebrations, but I haven't been here in a really long time, even though I live right around the corner. I know, and I have never been asked to speak, so I'm really grateful, Gary, for the invitation, and I'll speak a little bit more about that in a moment. But I do just want to give thanks for this beautiful space and for the people that have been coming here throughout the years who fill it with just it's always a very welcoming feeling here. Everybody always greets me with lots of hugs and smiles, and it's a lovely spot we have right here in our very own community that I hope more and more people continue to explore for themselves. So, with your permission, I would like to offer a little prayer and a blessing for this space and for this community and for this time that we're going to spend together this morning, okay? So I'm going to just light a candle down here. I've made a little altar, and this is just part of like the ritual work that I do in my life every day in my home, and also in all of the different communities that I'm a part of. And so I would invite anybody who feels called to, you're welcome to stand. You don't have to stand, but I'm just going to offer a prayer to the 7 directions, okay? So I think east is somewhere over here. We welcome you, guardians of the East. So grateful for this brand new day and for the beautiful sunshine and warmth that is smiling on us all. I'd like to offer my gratitude to the element of the air, grateful for our clarity of mind and speech, and pray that all our communications today be filled with love and compassion and truth and kindness. I also like to acknowledge our relatives that fly in the skies, all of our winged ones, and bless them in their journeys today. And additionally, I would like to give thanks for those visionaries who created this beautiful space and who continue to keep that vision and that dream alive, that nurtures our community and allows us time to come together and to share our thoughts and hearts with one another. Ometeot. So now we're going to turn to the west, which is going to be somewhere that direction. We welcome you, guardians of the West, to the element of water. We give thanks, for our bodies are made of water, and this planet is made of water. We give thanks for our hearts and all of the wonderful emotions we get to feel in this experience of being human. We thank you for the love that is permeating this room, and for the love that we will generate here together that we can then take back to our families and bring into our communities as the day and the week goes on. We give thanks for all of the mothers of the world and for the womb, the sacred womb that is the cauldron of creation, where the sacred waters flow and all life is born. Ome Teot. So now we're going to turn and face, let's see, the north is going to be this way. Okay. Thanks for helping me. We call upon you, guardians of the north, and offer our deep gratitude to the ancestors of these lands where we are standing and praying right now, and to the lineages that have preyed upon this land for hundreds and thousands of years. We also give thanks for the ancestors and the lineages of all of the people that are here today in this sacred spot. We give thanks for the traditions that have been passed down to us, for the traditions that we've been taught, and for those that we have been exploring on our own, for those that we remember, and for those that we are creating for future generations. We give thanks for our elders who are the witnesses and the record keepers of our times, and for all of their wisdom and knowledge they impart with us so generously. May they be blessed, and may we be blessed as we journey forth in our lives to that destination. Ome Teot. And then we'll come over to the south, which I'm assuming is over here. Greetings to the guardians of the south. Ooh, we bid a great welcoming to the warmth and the light of that element of fire that is blazoning in the sky, but that also blazons within us all, giving thanks for that inner fire which lights us up in our delights, in our passions, our curiosity, our interests, all of those things that keep us in wonderment and awe. We give thanks for the energy that we have to move through our days, and give thanks for all of the children who teach us by their example how to be curious and how to live lives in wonder. Ome Teot. So now we're going to offer it up above. We give thanks to you, Great Spirit. Thank you for all of creation, all of the cosmos, and everybody here down on earth. We give thanks to be a part of it all. We give thanks for that grand vision where we can see the broader scope of things stretching out from our limited human perspective, seeing with divine mind and divine eye. We give thanks to you, Ome Teot. And I'm going to come down to the earth. You don't have to come down if you don't want to, but I'll come down. We give thanks to you, great Mother Earth. Thank you so much, Pachamama Tonantzintlalli. Thank you for all of the incredible abundance that you offer us, and for another day's journey on your back. Thank you for your beautiful vistas and for all of your incredible environments. We honor all of our relatives here on earth, the plants and the animals and the minerals, those stone beings that are the oldest of us all. We give thanks for all of the lessons that you teach us in how to be nourishing and nurturing and generous and loving us unconditionally. We pray for you, and we pray for all the people who are working so hard to protect you, and for all those who are also developing greater connection and consciousness with you. Ome Teot. And then finally, if you would, just place your hands on your heart. And in this moment, I'm just going to leave a space for a silent prayer that you can make to your own heart and to your own spirit, whatever you most need to hear from you today. Mateo. Everybody feel okay? Okay, great. So it was a couple of months ago when Gary asked me to come in and speak, and we settled on this date. He told me that the theme of the month would be infinite possibilities. And so that was pretty broad. This could be about a lot of things. And to be perfectly honest with you, when we set that date in the calendar just a couple of months ago, I was in a really bad place. I was in a really tough spot in my life. And that wasn't something new. It was like I felt like this long, dark portal that I had been going through over the past couple of years. And I know that for many of us, that's been true, like going through the pandemic together and then coming out of the pandemic together and, and then there's like the recession and just like what is the new normal? It's been rough. It's been rugged. And on many levels, both in the macro and like in our own lives, in the microcosm. And that was where I found myself a couple of months ago when Gary and I were communicating. And so at that time, I remember thinking infinite possibilities, like there were no possibilities. I could see no possibilities. And in all honesty, all of this, I just kind of made up today. And that's kind of how I work, is like I just kind of improvise things on the spot. And I remember a couple of months ago thinking, it will come. It will come. You'll figure it out. It'll become clear to you. Something will change, And I just was holding on to that faith. And as the days and the weeks progressed, things got more challenging. And I was finding myself in a situation that I felt like I hadn't been in many years. I'm thinking maybe 12, 13 years. The last time I felt like I was in this really like a crux in my life where everything felt like it was being ripped away was back in 2009 when my father passed away on Valentine's Day. And in the duration of that whole year, slowly and surely, every part of my life was stripped away. I had some troubles with my sisters. I became estranged from them after my dad died. My husband announced that he wanted a divorce. I quit the band that I had been singing in for 10 years. I had to move homes. And by the end of the year, I lost my job. And it just felt like the worst thing that could ever happen. And why is this happening to me? I swear to God, the whys are going to kill me in this lifetime. But why? Why? I ask that question so often. And I remember back then just feeling like this was some cruel trick. This was some cruel joke. Like, how could all of this be happening? This is not normal. Like, what did I do? What is my karma? Like, why? Why? And of course, what ended up happening from that experience back in 2009, 2010 was that my life was leveled, which meant that I got to completely rebuild. I got to begin again, begin anew, decide, dream, who do I want to be? What are the things that are really important to me? What are the things that really light me up? Who are the kinds of people that I want to have in my life? What is the kind of work that I actually want to be doing? And from that moment, I recreated my life. And that surrendering and allowing myself to be in that void, and then consciously taking some small steps over what I could control and what I knew I did want, led me, as it does, onto the path where I would meet the teachers that I was meant to meet and the traditions that I was meant to be part of and the work that I most aspired to be doing in my life, all of that came into fruition. I even got pregnant for the first time in my life. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. I got my dream baby out of that deal. Yeah, he's back there. He just perked up for a second. So to be then, now speeding, up until this time, where the past year and a half has been a real rough road. And again, just like asking myself over and over again, like, why is this happening? And, feeling like, okay, but I've done this before. I've been through this before. And I know that I need to be steadfast in my disciplines, that I need to this is the time where, usually when things aren't going so smooth, it's like you get distracted from your spiritual practices or those disciplines that, really help ground you. I knew I couldn't do that. I knew I had to keep on the path and be praying every day, be doing my work, keep showing up, doing all the things that I do. And things just were not getting better. And in fact, I would make these efforts, maybe with the new moon, I'm going to do some big ceremony, or with the full moon, I'm going to do this ceremony, or I'm going to, pray with the fire, or I'm going to pray to the water, all the things that I was trying to do to find the path forward. I couldn't see a path forward, which is really irregular for me because I'm a pretty creative person. I'm like a visionary kind of person. And so to be looking forward and it just be so unclear filled me with fear, filled me with anxiety. I felt out of body many days, just waking up and feeling so untethered, even though I'm doing my practices, I'm doing the things. I was not me. I just I felt like a shell of who I am. And that all really came to a head, at the beginning of April. I had just come back from a trip from Mexico, and the trip, going to Mexico, but it wasn't really. It was kind of it wasn't a bad trip, but I always say that Mexico is like a giant obsidian mirror, and it always reflects back to you whatever's going on in your life. And that was kind of what happened to me on that trip in Mexico. I wasn't able to kind of let things go and just kind of restore myself, which was what I was hoping I was going to do in Mexico. It all came like this. And then I had to come home and deal with this. And it was really dark. I mean, I feel like I was, spiraling into depression, which I hadn't felt like I'd been depressed in a long time. I thought that was something that was a part of my past. And now I'm recognizing some of those thought patterns and some of those ideations that, were not going to help me in any way. And so the only choice was for me to, again, take control of what I could control. And so it was behaving my way. I can't change any of these things that are happening in my life. My career was suffering in many ways. Relationships, family relationships, I was having some difficulties. Personal relationships, having some difficulties. Financially, having some difficulties. And I couldn't control any of it. It was all outside of my control. What could I control? Well, when I came back from Mexico, remember when we had that week in April with 80-degree days, and it felt like we were going to have spring for a second until second or third winter came? I thought the spring cleaning. I'm gonna spring clean my house. And so I took a week, and every day I just chose one room, and I emptied everything out of it, and I scoured the room from floor to ceiling. And in doing this mechanical, methodical kind of work, it gave me a focus for my energy so that I didn't feel like I was out of my body. It gave me a focus, and the thoughts started to I was still thinking about the things, but they were starting to take different forms, I guess I could say. I also knew at that time that I needed to really double down, that throughout all of this dark portalness, I knew that there were some practices, some disciplines that I could and probably should be doing to help keep myself grounded, to help keep myself in body, and I was avoiding because they take effort and energy. And so I knew that I needed to double down on those things as well. And I got back into a daily yoga practice, and I got back into a daily meditation practice. And I was waking up with the sun again and going outside to sing at the sunrise and putting my bare feet to the earth to remind myself that I'm connected. These were the practical things that I could do. These were the things that I could control while everything else was out of control. This was the way that I knew from past experience that sometimes it's a matter of like behaving your way into a better day. And so that was what I was trying to go for. So just like, about a month ago, I think it was, with that last new moon, we entered that kind of final eclipse portal. I don't know how many of you all follow astrology and all that stuff, but we've been going through a lot of eclipses over the last couple of years, and this was going to be like a last great portal. And I think it started with the new moon, which was just about a lunation ago, and then ended with the full moon. There was like a 2-week period in there. And so at that point, things were shifting for me. I was noticing, first of all, just feeling better in my body, right? I'm doing yoga, I'm feeling like actually in my body, conscious of my body, can feel my body. The meditations were really helping me to just stay centered with myself. Certainly, being in this nice, clean, refreshed space is like allowing my thoughts to flow in a better way. So like there was already shifting happening just from those efforts. But I also recognize that what I really needed was to be able to see my situations from a different perspective. I had become so entrenched in the stories that I was telling myself about my situations, about the people that were involved, or about how things went down, or like those things that I was telling myself over and over again that I couldn't see it from, a different angle. And I knew that, I recognized that. And so I knew what I needed to do was reach out to others. I needed the help of others and the support of others. I needed to meet with some people that maybe hadn't heard my story over and over again, like some of the women who come to 13 Moons, and we check in all the time. So like they know my story. They know what's going on with me. I needed to talk with some people that, I was in fresh relationship with, that could have some fresh perspective. And blessed be, there were some really lovely elders who came onto my path within the last year or so, half a year or so. And I reached out to some of them, and some of them reached out to me. And I got together and was able to kind of share my experience and share what I was going through. And they had some really interesting perspectives and some insights. Small ones, just like a little phrase they would say that suddenly triggered something. And I would go home and I would think about that. And so putting myself in those situations with these other women, with these people, was also helping things to shift. But then I knew that I also needed to go a little bit deeper than that. As it happened in some of those conversations, there were offerings that were made to me to be part of a program. One of them offered for me to join her curanderismo program. Another one offered to give me the teachings of the Temazcal, which is the sweat lodge, how to pour the sweat lodge, which is a 7-year commitment. And I wasn't sure, do I want to make a 7-year commitment? I was thinking about it. I was noticing that there were these offers of help, and offers for me to be able to show up as a student again, to have that beginner mind and beginner eyes, and to admit and accept that I don't know what is going on right now. I don't know where to go. I don't have the answers. But what I do have is community. And what I do have are other people who have their medicines and their gifts that they're offering to me to help get me through this time. And you have to think that, if I were to take this course or do this teaching, that by the end of it, more things are going to be shifted. And so I took them up on those offers. And in fact, just yesterday, I had my first curanderismo class with one of these lovely elder women. And in all honesty, like the stuff that she covered was stuff that I know, right? Like I already know this, except I intentionally wasn't allowing myself to think that way. I wanted to receive these teachings from her in a new way, with fresh ears, as if I had never done these things before or learned these things before. Let it be a new experience for me. Let there be curiosity. And so I went through that six-hour class yesterday, doing these things that I know how to do and that I do all the time. But I really had a sense that it was so fun and it was so freeing. And even the basic things felt really significant to me. And so this morning, I was thinking about being here today, and I was thinking about all of this and that experience that I had yesterday. And I was thinking about that piece of curiosity. And I'm going to bring it back right now to our theme about infinite possibilities. And I was thinking about how so often, here's where I was thinking. I was thinking about how yesterday at this class, there was a baby. One of the women brought in a baby. And that baby was so great. It was a 6-hour class. That baby was so great and so chill and so sweet until he wasn't. There came a point after the lunch break where the baby was done. And that was it. The baby was done, And of course, we were all understood, and mom and dad, packed everything up and apologized for having to leave early. And of course, we understand, baby comes first. And I was thinking about how wonderful babies are in that they're so honest, right? And that was something that this teacher yesterday even pointed out about that honesty of the babies, that they're just telling you all the time what they need right there in that moment. And I was thinking about kids, because I work with kids where I teach singing and everything. I got lots of kids in my life aside from my own and all the neighbor kids. There's lots of children. And how wonderful it is that they have that sense of curiosity and wonderment, but with a wild abandon, because it's all new to them. They don't know what these experiences are going to bring, so they just go for it. They just check things out and they try things and they're a little daredevilish or whatever because they haven't fallen down and hurt themselves a whole bunch yet. Or they haven't been scolded about doing that thing yet. Or they haven't been embarrassed about doing that thing yet. And how as we grow in our lives, how that becomes the thing, right? Our experiences become the thing that imprisons us in ourselves in the end. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to read this quote. I found this really beautiful quote. I'm just going to read it because it'll say it better than I can. That as we grow into the world, we absorb limitations through our experiences and interactions. The creation of judgments, expectations, and stories guide the way we live, and we are reluctant to admit our own ignorance. Somewhere along the line, seeking newness became synonymous with admitting that we were lesser than for not having all the answers. Without the ability to be in constant learning, we forget the endless nature of possibility And we settle for just being like, things are just fine the way they are, status quo. When we're taught to fear the things that we don't understand, it's only natural to limit our desires, our beliefs, and our inclination to learn. We limit our entire existence through this lens of fear that we inherit as we grow into the world. But the most profound shift occurs when we are not only willing to embrace the unknown, but to admit that we don't know it all and allow ourselves to explore with beginner mind and beginner eyes. And that was a quote from Daniel Sanito. And that quote reminded me of a quote I heard spoken in one of our circles in the winter. We had a lovely woman who joined our community, and when she introduced herself, she's an elder woman, she's in her 70s, and when she introduced herself, she said before she closed that she was coming into this experience with beginner eyes and beginner mind, but with a full basket. And I've held on to that quote because that's it. That's how we embrace infinite possibility. Yeah, we all carry these baskets that are filled with our experiences, with our successes and our failures, with our bliss and our trauma. Like each of our life experiences, we will never know what it's like to walk in another person's moccasin, but we can assume that everybody has had as many diverse experiences in their lives that we have, just in different ways, in infinite different ways. But when we can set the basket down and we can show up in our lives in different ways, in different settings, in different communities or experiences, being okay to be beginners, being okay to not know how to do things or to not be the best at doing something, to be able to show up and be curious and to ask questions and to be silly and to be vulnerable and just accept the fact that, we don't know all the answers, we don't have it all together, and we're not ever going to. That's the journey of life. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about getting older, is that, when you've gone through enough of these cruxes in your life, you've traversed the dark portals, one after another, hopefully spread out. It's a humbling experience. And all of that self-importance that we have, all that, the way that we puff up, or try to puff up, make ourselves seem whatever to whomever, when all of that can fall away and we can just get to that essence of who we are and touch in on the things that we really love, the things that really light us up, connecting with the people that really light us up, exploring those things that we've always wanted to do but we just haven't yet. To me, that's what infinite possibilities is all about. I just want to make sure real quick. Oh yeah, there was one other thing that I wanted to touch base on, which is just that, this past week in one of my courses, we had a circle on womb healing the womb. And regardless if you're, however, whatever gender you were born with or all of that, we all carry a womb space. And the womb space is kind of like when I was praying to the south, it's that fire in the belly. It's that part of ourselves, that creative, sacred cauldron where we find our passion and inspiration and the curiosity, the excitement. Like, when you're really excited about something, you get an idea, you're gonna do something, it's something that you've wanted to do for a long time, but you just haven't, and it lights up here. That's that fire in the belly. And to me, this is always, this space physically for me and energetically for me is always the indicating space, if it's a yes or if it's a no. And sometimes I have to be careful because I feel the fire in my belly, but then in my mind, I have the stories and the fear. And so I have to be really careful to peel back those stories that I'm telling myself and tune in more to this space here, which you all have. Everybody just put your hands there for a second. And I'm sure that I know many people feel really uncomfortable touching their stomachs. I go through this all the time in my circles. And I know that many people, probably some of you might be thinking, wow, I haven't done this in a long time, touched myself in this place. But this is the spot you can tune into that is always going to let you know what it desires, what it is curious about, what will light it up. And so if you're ever at a loss, just tune in to this space here. We have everything we need inside of us to take advantage of these infinite possibilities in life. Even those elements that we prayed to at the beginning here. You know, we have that earth that is our bodies. We have the water of our blood and our sweat and our tears. We have that fire in the belly. We have that air, that breath that we get to breathe and that we get to send out in voice and in prayer and in song. We're going to sing in just a minute. And so really, to be able to get that fresh perspective, to be able to see the infinite possibilities that are open to us, we have to get back in touch with what is essential. And it's usually the simplest things, like tuning in here, or meeting up with new people who can give you fresh perspective, or being careful of the stories that we're telling ourselves in our minds. We have all the power. So we're going to sing a song about that. And it's going to be in Spanish. Gary, are you able to put that song up there? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Some of you, I think that you're going to be able to get the main part, okay? We were going to try and project it up here, but I guess it didn't work. So this song is called Todo el Poder. All of the power. Can you all say Todo el Poder? Yeah, so todo el poder está dentro de mí. Yeah, so that means all of the power is inside of me. Todo el poder está dentro de mí. And then, because it's me, todo el poder de la luna, all of the power of the moon. Todo el poder está dentro de ti. All of the power is inside of you. Say that with me. Todo el poder está dentro de ti. Todo el poder de la luna. De la luna, yeah. And then the next part might be a little bit tricky. So I'll sing that part. If you guys can help me on the todo el poder part, I'll cover the next part, which is basically to say, celebro mi vida, I celebrate my life. El camino andado y el por recorrer, the path that we've traveled, that we return to, that keeps on going. And then celebro tu vida, I celebrate your life, el camino andado y el por recorrer. I know that one part's a little tricky, but I think that we can do this. So, I always sing songs 4 times. That's the way that I was taught when we do traditional songs, and that's a way that we first of all just honor that quadripartition of like the 4 elements and the 4 directions and the 4 seasons, and there's all of those 4s that we honor, and 4 times through tends to be enough times for people to catch on. Okay. Todo el poder está dentro de mí, todo el poder de la luna, todo el poder está dentro de ti, todo el poder de la luna, celebra el poder correr. Celebro tu vida, el camino andado y el poder correr. Todo el poder está dentro de mí, todo el poder de la luna, todo el poder está dentro de ti, todo el poder de la luna. Celebro mi vida, el camino andado y el poder correr. Celebro tu vida, el camino andado y el poder correr. Todo el poder está dentro de mí, todo el poder de la luna, todo el poder está dentro de ti, todo el poder de la luna. Celebro mi vida, el camino andado y el poder correr. Celebro tu vida, el camino andado y el poder correr. Todo el poder está dentro de mí, todo el poder de la luna, todo el poder está dentro de ti, todo el poder de la luna. Celebro mi vida, el camino andado y el poder correr. Celebro tu vida, el camino andado y el poder correr. Ometeot. Is this a good time for offerings? Yeah? Okay.
Lake Harry, please give it up for Miss Emily Colay. Thank you.
I'm going to sing for the offerings too, but I'll come down here.
Wonderful. So this is the time that I'd remind you that we are supported by your generous donations, and it is our primary source of income that allows us to keep the lights on and bring all of this wonder and joy to you. Tlazokamati, hey ah hey ah hey ah hey ah hey ah hey. Tlazokamati, hey ah hey ah hey ah hey ah hey ah hey ah hey. Muchas gracias, Tlazocamati. Muchas gracias, Tlazocamati. Muchas gracias, Tlazocamati. Muchas gracias, Tlazocamati. Mi familia, hey, 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 hey. Mi familia, hey, 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 hey. Muchas gracias, mi familia. Muchas gracias, mi familia. Muchas gracias, mi familia. Muchas gracias, mi familia. Hey, hey, oh, hey. Todo el mundo, hey, 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 hey. Todo el mundo, hey, 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 hey. Muchas gracias todo el mundo. 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 Hey, hey, yo, hey. Perfect love.
flowing through me. Blessed and multiplied. All ideas. All that I receive. And all that I am. Aho.
Now, as we like to do at Lake Harriet, let's make a small circle, gather up, and then somebody's going to do some additional inspirational stuff to send us off into the day. I don't need my microphone.
Well, here. Could I come in here by the birthday girl? Luca, come. Come on. Okay, so what I would like to have us do, so this is what we do in our 13 Moon Circles before we leave, is we always offer just a one-word checkout. And so it's just however you're feeling in the moment. It doesn't have to be inspirational or anything. It is just whatever word comes to you in the moment. We're just going to go around the circle and everybody offer a word. Could we start with you, birthday girl? Hopeful. Grateful. Cleansed. Happy. Content. Thankful. Possibilities. Bliss. Relaxed. Kindness. Fun. Calm. Peaceful. Integration. Love. Wonderful. Inspirational. Excited. Joyful. Grateful. Blessed. Raised. Heart-centered. Excited. Spring. Peace. Ready. Oh, Jeffrey, do you want to come into the circle and give us a word? Give us a word, Jeffrey. Any word will do. Peace. Okay, I'm going to make you all sing, but this one's going to be easier. So this one, it's just vocable, so there's no words. And we're going to start it softly, and then we're going to build it. You're going to catch on, okay? So it's just a way, okay? It's going to be like this. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, oh, way, hey, oh. One more time through, just like that. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, hey, oh. Way, oh, way, oh, way, oh. Talaso Kamati, thank you everybody so much. Oh, Mateo. Thank you. Happy birthday. Thank you.